Don't get me in trouble, bro.
Yeah, so I picked this topic just so we could both get in trouble. All right, we're back here with another episode of the Illuvium Rundown, episode 21. We have Jimberino back again. Thanks for coming. And we have Rich. You know him as Dick Kings on Discord there. How you doing? Thanks for coming on.
Good. Glad to be here. Thanks for bringing me on, guys.
Yeah, I know you're not going to stick around for the whole thing, but stick around as long as you want. So let's just get right into it. So obviously the big thing going on this past week is the GameStop Illuvitar sale. We just got an update that we're extending past the first 72 hours, right? So now we're extending another, is it 3 or 4 days?
It'll basically be a week total from the start. So yeah, like 4 days basically.
Okay. And I guess the first thing that just popped up as an announcement on Discord I'm seeing here is that Kieran posted that we're going to be able to get some free physical disc plates if we bought a certain amount of GameStop discs, right? I was just reading.
Yes. So I can run it down for you easily
Yeah,
real
go ahead.
quick. Yeah. So basically, just as a reward for those who have already participated, and bought 5 or more discs, essentially, you'll be getting. Rajir put together a really cool piece of like commemorative artwork for the first promo we did, and it features 6 of the Illuvitars from the GameStop sale. So all
Is it
6
this
of the
right here that we're
Illuvials.
seeing on screen?
Yep, those right there that you're seeing. So on the left there, you'll see the non-holo version, and so you'll get a printed version of that. And I posted it in the Beyond chat. You'd have to go look for it, but basically what it looks like, it'll be a nice disc plate with that image on it. And you'll also receive the matching NFTs. So if you got 5 or more, you'll get the non-holo and the non-holo print. And then if you get if you've already if you purchase 15 or more, then you'll get the holo version and a holo printed version as well. And what I mean by that is basically we'll have that as like a promo NFT. We'll turn those into NFTs. We'll airdrop them to all the wallets that got 5 or more or 15 or more. And then you'll also be able to claim that disc plate reward as well. And these will all be hand signed by Rajir himself. So his hand's going to be working overtime to get all these signed as well.
Okay. So will this free disc plate be, does it have to be in a GameStop Illuvitar?
What do you mean? Like as far as
Wait,
like
so is the disc
that
plate
image?
actually this image?
Yes, that image, exactly.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be like a commemorative disc plate, and it'll be all signed by Rajir. So pretty
Awesome.
cool little reward, and a thank you for all those who have participated this far.
Yeah, and the Illuvitar you get, is that going to be random as well? Like if you get 15 discs, your free Illuvitar, it's random?
It's not an Illuvitar. So you're getting that image is going to be turned into a promo NFT, which then you'll get airdrop, and then you'll also get the disc plate that matches it.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I've bought 9 so far, so now I'm tempted to buy 6 more just to get this holo version.
Yeah, it's not necessarily what we're trying to do. It's more of just a thank you to those who already have. Yeah, maybe it pushes people across the line for if you bought 4, you buy 1 more and you get this very cool disc plate signed by Rajir. So, but yeah, the main thing is just as a thank you to everyone who's participated. We've seen all the feedback, and tried to take that into account with doing something like this for everyone who's participated thus far and who will hopefully in the next 4 days.
Yeah, definitely. So far, what do you guys think? Has this been a success so far, or are we still? Is that still up in the air? Do we have to wait for the next 4 days to see how it goes?
I mean, I think you can look at it a couple different ways, for your success metrics. I think the biggest thing, that will come from this and that is coming from this is, we got 740-ish new wallets that have purchased Illuvitars so far, or discs. So that's good in my mind. That's a quite a bit of wallets, and then not only that, but you have, this email that went out to I think they said like between 5 and 6 million. I don't know the exact number, but all the GameStop's Pro Rewards members, those are all people that never knew what Illuvium was before. So I think it's major eyes on us that weren't there previously, and this partnership with GameStop, it's not like a one-off thing, so hopefully in the future, we can work together in some capacity. Like me and Jimbo were talking about it before, like even with something like once open beta comes, maybe we can get them to help promote that still. Like I'm just saying a possibility, but it's definitely I think the partnership itself, huge success. Like great, got tons of eyes on us. The sale, we obviously have some things to learn from, and we'll see how it pans out in the next 4 days or 5 days once we get to the end and see how everything went.
Definitely. Imagine if this partnership when the whole GameStop thing was going on with their stock pumping like a couple years ago, like that would have brought in so much.
It would have been crazy, and it feels bad because people see GameStop as a meme, and for a while there, it kind of was, but I think they're on an upward trajectory that could lead them to like finding success that no one's expecting. Personally,
yeah, I mean, and you see, like they've already announced their new GameStop player, I think it's called. So they're definitely making a shift towards Web3, it seems, or or becoming, definitely shifting away from just having stores, like GameStop stores selling video games and stuff.
it's a bit of a blockbuster Netflix situation going on there.
Yeah, definitely. So before I move to the next topic, I just wanted to bring this up quick because I feel like not everybody is completely aware of how this works in the album. So in the album, there is a promotional section, and for each of the 6 illuvitars, there are 3 different expressions. So you get 18 slots to fill it in, but these are not limited to just these slots. So if you go into just your normal, say tier 0, you can put these promo NFTs in these slots. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but the power is less than if you put a bunch of accessories on a regular illuvitar, right?
Yeah, the power of those accessories is supposed to all be 2.5%. So they'd be like tier 1 accessories, on each. So if you have higher tier accessories you're putting on them, then yeah, you're going to get more power out of a normal illuvitar,
Okay, that makes
I
a
think
ton
there's
of sense.
some stuff currently bugged with some of the accessories on some of them that they're still working on, so they might not show up correctly currently, but yeah, that's all being worked on.
Always. All right, so let's move on quickly to just some governance updates. So we had 2 IIPs that are out there for a vote. They haven't been made official yet, right? The alpha stamp in the trading blackout.
They are in the IMC voting portal now, and I just got off a call with Kieran and Annie and Blichter, and yeah, they're aware we should be getting those votes in, and the vote will be over in 3 days, and I imagine they should pass, just given all the other councils they've been through. So not finalized, but I think we're on our way there.
Yeah, so they both passed the sub council votes, and then now it's just the IMC.
Yep.
And I
And
think
with the way we set up, I don't know if everyone has seen, but it is worth noting. Like, so if you go to governance.illuvium.io, the way we set it up now is basically all our sub council sections are there. And it's kind of cool now the way that you can set it up in Snapshot, where our main governance page is now linked to all these sub councils, so you can see all the sub councils votes on that main governance page, so you don't have to go to each one, and then you can navigate there easily from just the governance.illuvium.io page. So cool little deal. Me and Jeremy have been working on getting that set up for a while. It just we had to, the way Snapshot works is you have to own the ENS in order to change around the parameters of each space. So it was a little bit of a time getting, we had to get back that that one ILV .eth ENS for a little bit there. So took a little time to get set up, but yeah, big ups to Jeremy getting that done before he went on vacation. So
there's been another, I guess it's not, we're not calling it a proposal. think it was Fight for ETH put it up there about what the marketing subcouncil believes is a way to approach Wave 2 Illuvitars. Basically, I can tell you from the strategy subcouncil, we've been going back and forth with marketing, kind of where we make our suggestions to them. They're sending some suggestions back. Strategy just met again this morning, and we're sending another set of recommendations over to marketing, and then hopefully we get an official proposal out soon. But I think the one thing that we're all agreeing on is that the alpha prices were a little too high in the first wave. But I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Should we be bringing them down? Should they be the same price as the standards? Is this the get in early type thing, or is this I have a little bit more money to spend on these things?
Me personally, I think I'm kind of aligned with you guys in the fact that we could drop the prices some. I just yeah, I don't know. I haven't been across everything you guys have been chatting about, as we had like a lot going on the past week, as you guys know. But yeah, like I had a few different ideas, and some council members reached out to me, and I mean, like, where are you guys like mostly aligned at now?
So without getting into too much detail, we're looking at the alpha prices being slightly higher than the standards. They were saying they want them to be the same prices, alpha and non-alpha. So we are suggesting that they are a little bit more, but nowhere near that 5x they were in the first run. But we do like the idea of having the same quantity as the first run. So, when we're on wave 5, 6, 7, we're looking back and we're saying, okay, so there was 20K alpha discs or alpha mega discs for the first set, and there's also 20K for the second set. And another thing, Kieran hopped on this morning with us, and he was really pushing the idea that whatever we do come up with is that it's sustainable over time. So he doesn't want to be making changes on set 3, on set 4. So that's one of the things we're really considering is just after we learned what we learned from set 1, how can we change set 2 so that we can keep it this way moving forward?
Yeah, I think that makes sense too. Something, I mean, things can always change, sentiment and all that, but yeah, getting it as close to final product is probably best.
From my personal opinion, I would as you guys are like trying to do, I would try to like keep it the same throughout, but you have to like keep in mind the influx of players that are going to come into the game when the actual games are out that are going to want Illuvitar's as well. I think that's a pretty important point to think about, but I'm not the marketing guy, so I could be wrong on that.
Yeah,
No, I think
definitely.
it's a fair point. Yeah, like yeah, definitely, because I mean, if it does what we expect it to do, like, or what we hope the game to do, I think, like you said, there's going to be lots of people wanting Illuvitars, and I don't know that alphas really need to come into that equation, as there'll still be other waves, like, alphas might not be for all those players, but yeah, it makes sense to take that in consideration when you guys are thinking about these prices, definitely.
Yeah, and we do want the alphas to remain like that premium, section. They don't have any like utility when it comes to the albums. So it's really going to be for those big time collectors that want the alphas, that want, like Pokemon was, they want that little first edition stamp on there. And again, we just sent our suggestions over to marketing. I think they're going to be the ones coming up with the final proposal. But we've also suggested slightly lowering the prices for the non-alpha discs too, just because we feel like they were pretty close to a good price, but a very small decrease could be, in the works there too.
Cool.
Awesome. So let's move on to merch. We do these episodes every 2 weeks, so it seems like merch has been out for a little while already. But the last episode, it wasn't here yet. Probably came the next day. But we got our merch. I'm wearing a t-shirt. I think both of you are wearing some Illuvium t-shirts. I know I made a full separate video all about merch and how I feel. So I want to hear what you feel about this merch. And I want to know, did either of you get a disc plate yet? Because I didn't get one.
No, they had some minor issues getting it shipped overseas, which is, where is Illumination at? Because I was surprised he got his.
Yeah, right.
I don't know where he's located though, but I know personally, I don't think mine have shipped yet, and I ordered mine before you guys. So They were sorting out some issues with shipping, but yeah, looking forward to getting that for sure. I have like 3 coming now, so definitely looking forward to getting that. But as far as merch, like it's funny, like I commented on your post, I talked to some other people about it, you know, and like I don't know, like I think you know, all bias aside, right? Like I'm on the team, like I love the brand, like I love all that, but like I'm not like a big clothes shopper, I guess, you know, like I have nice clothes, like I have nice button-up shirts. Um, but as far as like quality and comfort wise, like these shirts were the shirt, the shorts, and the sweatshirt were all amazing to me. I got all black, you know, two stuff. They didn't have the cream when I wouldn't get white anyways, honestly, because I would just ruin it. But yeah, I mean, as far as like I wear a lot of hoodies. Like I have a lot of hoodies, and like this hoodie is literally some of the best quality. And like I look at that even from like NBA Top Shot. Like so I'm part of like the Cool Cats Club with them, and they sent us, you know, some merch, sent me a nice sweatshirt, and this sweatshirt like makes that sweatshirt look like dog shit. So like that, and then you know the t-shirts, like if you look at, I don't know if you guys ever got a hold of like the first t-shirts that we made, like if you guys ever got some of those. Oh, okay, well like
Nah, I
these
did
are
get
like
the Bulldogs one. I got the Bulldogs one, but that's
Same.
it.
yeah, no, this the original t-shirts that they came out with that we were kind of giving away in the Discord every once in a while, like these shirts are just way higher quality. Like yeah, the material, the like, and like I said, for me, like I'm not a big clothes shopper, so I don't know, maybe all my clothes are just shit, and like and like these feel really nice to me, like they feel comfortable, they're like they fit well, you know, like so like I don't know, like I try not to be biased about it, but like that's my honest opinion, that they fit well, they're comfortable. The thickness and the heaviness, like I noticed a lot of people like kind of hung on those facts, that they were heavy and thick, but like to me, like that's something that's going to last, you know, through multiple washes, you know.
Yep.
And that's what I consider like high quality. Like I have a lot of shirts that have holes in them still, you know, and they're not made of material nearly this thick. So, and the
Yeah.
shorts are super nice. Like I own a lot of shorts like that. Like I have some on right now. I don't have the Illuvium ones on, but like as far as like quality of those shorts go, like super nice fitting. You know, the waistband feels nice. Like yeah, I like everything that I got, but I'm not a fashion mogul, so I don't know.
Yeah. In my next order, I'm definitely getting a pair of shorts. I kind of regret not getting that.
Yeah, I
I
like
will
them a lot.
say
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the sweatshirt. I really do like that. I'm a sweatshirt guy too. It's just getting a little warm for the summer here, so might be a
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
months
yeah,
before I'm wearing it
yeah.
again.
It's
But
basically going to be 100 here, like pretty soon. So I won't be able to wear it much, but I do like it.
yeah, not quite that much. Jimbo, what do you think about? Are you liking what you got?
Yeah, so I put up a review on my channel about it as well, and I kind of want to just echo some of the main points here. Uh, I don't really understand what people were saying. Like, they're not uncomfortable. Are they the softest? No. But one of the things I will say about the hoodies is it's like one small fraction below in comfiness from like your most comfy sweater that you own. But the upside of the material that they're using in these hoodies, if you've owned like a ton of hoodies, you know you get those like really annoying holes in the pocket. If you get the hoodies made from this material, they won't have those like hoodie specific holes that you get. So like Rich was saying with the holes in your t-shirt, if you get one of these hoodies, it is comfortable and it will not get those holes. It will last you. And as you said, the shorts, I may have gotten like a size too small, and they
May
and
have. I think you for sure did.
it's okay. One of my wives can wear them, but yeah. One thing I will say, one negative thing, I don't like the like plastic that they put on there, but the shorts, like the actual fabric, as I said, it's one of the most comfortable materials I've ever had, and it may be like the most comfortable material of any of my clothing. I'm not even joking about that. It
Yeah,
is
I
very
will
soft.
say that I do agree. I'm interested to see how long that logo holds up on those shorts, because yeah, I've had clothes with that on there and it
Mhm.
usually comes off. You know, at some point it'll start wearing off, cracking, you know, like doing that kind
Mhm.
of thing. But yeah, I mean, that's probably like one of the only gripes I have.
Yeah. That I'm happy with the merch. I think the prices are a little bit too high. They definitely should drop if possible. But yeah, I think the merch is amazing.
Yeah, I just want to see a little bit more variety. I know this is just the first set, and you can't come out with 25 different items. But last time we were talking about the Illuvium thong that you really wanted, Jimbo. So
we'll get it.
Maybe that's gonna come
We'll
soon.
get there one day.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get the obelisk on the crotch.
I told
and Illuvitar is on the bikini.
It's
top.
funny because you were I think you said in your video that you were going to take the sleeves off one of the shirts, and I told Kieran and them when internally when we were talking about clothes and merch and
they
all this
probably
stuff.
hated that.
Well, no, they don't like tank tops, I guess, in Australia. I don't know. Maybe it's an Australian thing, but like
it's
they don't
hot
like
as shit
tank
out
tops.
there.
And I was telling him, well, because I was telling him I want polos and I want tank tops. And Kieran's like, we're not doing tank tops. He's like, you Americans in your tank tops. And I was like, fine. I was like, I'll just rip the sleeves off all of them, make my own tank tops. And they're like, you're not ripping the sleeves off these shirts. I was like, well, if you don't get tank tops, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. Now you're gonna have to do it, Jimbo.
We used to have sleeveless. We used to have sleeveless Sundays. We'd go and play pool, and you had to have a shirt without sleeves, but it had to be like ripped off. Like no tank tops.
I'll make a video of me making this shirt into a cutoff, and I'll tag Kieran on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
there you go. He'll love it.
I got you.
Yeah, I will say I'm not a big fan of tank tops either. I don't know. Maybe my arms have just never been big enough for it. But I just want to see. I want a beanie.
Yeah, beanies would be nice. Beanies, some cool hats. Like I want a nice snapback. I wear snapbacks. So yeah, I think it'll develop over time, and I think they leaked some like shirt concepts a while back, like about like having like alluvials on them or whatever. So that'll be like. Especially if we get like a kids collection eventually, like I think a kids collection would go far for that type of thing. Even having merch for women, I think will be a good shift eventually once we get there.
Yeah, I saw someone on Twitter suggested I forget who it was, but you know how like you can pick an illuvitar for a disc plate, like be able to pick your illuvitar and have it printed onto a t-shirt or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. In some sort of pattern.
Yeah. Why don't we move on? So what do we got here? Pay to win for PvP. This is something that's at least it seems like it's everywhere for me because Vedamore's posted about it on Twitter. I've posted about it on Twitter where we've been talking about this in the strategy sub council a little bit. What are your thoughts on like how much if somebody wants to be competitive in this game, how much should they expect to have to pay, be able to compete?
You can go first, Jimbo.
Okay, so I have a lot to say about this.
I know, I saw you chomping at the bit.
In my personal opinion, I think the normal meta Hearthstone decks go for like $400, and like a Yu-Gi-Oh, like a meta Yu-Gi-Oh deck is like somewhere around the same amount. I think personally, I would like it to be less than that. I would want it to be like around $100 and $200 because it is a video game. We want it to be as accessible as possible. The problem is like, how do we do that? $100 to $200 is not pay to win whatsoever at all. Like that's the golden spot where you're like, oh wait, this NFT shit is real. You know what I mean? But I forgot where was I at? I don't even remember what I was saying.
Yu-Gi-Oh meta decks.
Oh yeah, so like I think $100 to $200 is the sweet spot.
But are you talking like a top tier competitive deck, like stage 3, tier 5 alluvials?
Yeah, because because for like the normal ranked mode, that should be accessible. You should be able to afford every single alluvial. The Leviathan is where the big spender should be. $100 to $200 for the best deck and ranked, and just unlimited for Leviathan. That way, because it has to be accessible, so the whales who do give us 90% of the profit have someone to flex on with their expensive like hollow alluvials with the perfect stats, because without those players who have to have some kind of accessibility to the game. The whales have no one to flex on, and they're going to leave. So I think making ranked as accessible as possible and Leviathan as inaccessible as possible is how the game's ecosystem should perform.
Yeah. So anyone who's not aware, as it currently sits, there is a difference between this Ascendant in Leviathan Arena. So currently in the regular rank mode, the Ascendant Arena, if you have one of any alluvial, if you have one of them, you can use it for all 3 stages, I believe. So if you had a Ramfy, you could use it in the Ascendant Arena as the Ramfire. So I think right there really separates those two, making the Ascendant Arena a lot cheaper to get into than the Leviathan Arena. But we also know that we're a DAO and things can change, and maybe they change it so that you need to actually have the Ram Fire for the Ascendant Arena. Maybe not. I've heard some, talks going around, people suggesting that. But I mean, those are things that we don't know yet. So I think if it's determined that a Ramfy can be a Ramfire, then I think those alluvials can be a little more pricey. But if you need to catch 9 Ramfies to use a Ramfire just for the Ascendant mode, then I think they need to be a lot cheaper. To closer to that, whatever you said, 150 to 200. The other thing I want to say on that is that this is Web3 with true ownership of these assets. I think it's a little different because if you spend $150 in a Web2 game, you're not getting any of that back. I think people are going to be willing to spend more because they know at the end of the day, if they want to sell back these NFTs to somebody else, they can make at least some of their money back. So they might be willing to spend $300 for that deck, knowing that at any point they can probably get half of it back. What are your thoughts on that?
I see where you're coming from, but I don't think because Illuvium is going to be the first Web3 game that breaks into the mainstream, right? I don't think the mainstream is ready for that kind of logic right off the bat. They're going to be like, ooh, this is NFTs. Ooh, this deck cost $500, $600. This is a scam. I'm not doing this. But if you're like, it's $150, I mean, if your NFTs are sold and worth nothing, you lost $150, like your deck. That's how I feel about it. Because like if we were like the third or fourth, I think that would actually be a legitimate argument. But the sentiment is going to have to change with us, and we need to make it look as pretty as possible while also making everything in the ecosystem work well together the way it should for the most optimal existence.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, like, I tend to agree with you more, Jimbo, especially like just looking, at this GameStop deal. Like, I was hanging out on the Reddits and like kind of seeing what people were saying, and there's still like a lot of pushback on NFTs, and like even with the Illuvitar sale, like, oh, what are these? Like people are still really wary, especially putting money into it, So like what I wonder is what's a TFT player that wants to play ranked in a live, what's he gonna come in and be willing to spend? Like I guess that would be an interesting thing to find out is how much TFT players are spending, for whether that's skins or whatever they're spending their money on. I know they're not building decks there, like we will be, but like whatever they're spending in game there, I think is probably a good metric to look at. Like for something like Ascendant, considering that's kind of the target audience, is TFT players, that type of thing. Which in my mind, I think that they're probably willing to spend more money if they're, competitive playing TFT all the time, So, but they're not the only players in the end, So I think, yeah, getting it as accessible as possible is going to be. I mean, I remember when I played Axie for the first time, that was not very accessible, honestly.
Mm-mm.
But I had enough money to buy it, and then I did, and it was a shit experience, So like, I never played it again. So yeah, I think it's a hard one, and we're gonna have to, once we hammer down what exactly it's gonna be, I think it'll give us a more broad picture of what we need to do, because I think that's a big part of it is figuring out what these people are willing to come in and spend to play competitively. Yeah.
So I think when we're bringing in a new audience, that Web 2 audience, is primarily going to be for the Ascendant arena. But would you say that most of the people who are in the community right now are looking or more excited for that Leviathan arena, or do you think it's mixed between Leviathan and Ascendant?
I personally would say it's definitely that they're more excited for the regular ranked. They're excited to watch Leviathan, not play it.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think that's a smaller subset of people, like you said, that are going to be playing Leviathan, as
Mhm.
opposed to everybody. It'll be more accessible, like we're talking about. Ascendant will be more accessible. It'll be your average players playing there, and having fun there, as opposed to going to Leviathan and playing against some monster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Leviathan's for content creation, for sure.
Yeah, maybe that's why I'm leaning that way. And I'm definitely no whale. I'll probably be willing to spend more than the average player out there. But I see Ascendant Arena and I'm just like, that doesn't, scratch the itch for me. I want to be able to go out, get the best alluvials I can, build up a quality deck, buy some off the marketplace. And then what I've always done in games in the past is like I want to be able to come up with like a very unique deck, not using what everybody else is doing. Come up with something very unique, but still able to compete. And maybe it's going to be good for content creation, but like that's what gets me going in PvP. I don't know about you guys. Are you guys the ones who just find what the best characters out there are, and then use those?
I'm not good enough to not do that. So no, but I agree with you in that, like, it will be fun to like even I have like internal builds that I can play on, like, and you have all the alluvials like in the internal builds. So it's like kind of cool to experiment and, test out what combinations work. And like in a Leviathan mode, who knows, you could build a crazy deck with just all Dogas for cheap, like
Yeah.
they're for almost free probably. So and I don't think it would be a bad option for some people, like who knows, maybe that works out against whoever you end up playing against for their deck, so I think there will definitely be some cool stuff with doing the Leviathan.
And I think the beta for PvP is, the last I heard, just I don't know, either today or yesterday, was that they're on pace to get it out sometime in Q3. What are we technically? No, we're not in Q3 yet. A couple weeks we'll be in Q3. I heard that everything's going according to plan, on pace. So hopefully within the next 3 months, we have this and we're able to at least test it out, even if we don't actually own our alluvials yet.
I mean, I loaded up a build the other day with Terran, and I hadn't done it in a while, and it was much further along than I even thought. So if that is any sort of good news, I think I was very impressed. Like, it was still buggy, and like QA told me that, but from where it was when I tested it a month or two ago, whenever that was, I don't remember, but from where it was then and where it is now, I was highly impressed.
I think that's going to be
Nice.
the make it or break it for Illuvium here. How good is the PvP?
Yeah, I think the initial PvP release does matter, but like if it's not good by open beta, that would be the problem. If it's okay at the PvP initial release, it's fine.
Just okay, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
would
mean,
keep that in mind when it comes out.
just playing with somebody else adds such a huge level of excitement. I mean, I beat Terran, so no big deal. I beat Martini, no big deal. Coming for you guys next. So
Yeah, I can't wait till I can just fire up a stream like this and just challenge you to a match. We just get that going. I think it is going to be great for content, but I won't need the stream to play it. I'll be playing it no matter what.
Yeah,
it's finally like one of the last puzzle pieces, coming together.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
so it's should be exciting few months next quarter.
All right, so let's move on here. Again, Rich, whenever you need to go, let me know.
I think I'm gonna take off before.
Take off right now?
Yeah. I got some more stuff to do for work related things, and I'm gonna finish up
You
my
don't do
dinner with
anything.
family.
Relax.
He stays
I,
up
I
till
got
like 4 in the morning.
I got pulled off eating sushi to come do this real quick. So
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and we'll definitely ask you to come on again in the future.
yeah, cool. No, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. I don't know how to exit.
Keep that in, please. This dude's a pooper.
There we are. You are. I can see your bald head is pretty big.
See that? That's my forehead, bro. I just got a 5 head. Look at that.
I like it. I like it. All right, so Cards of Eternity. I had never heard of this before. Have you heard of it before?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. But
No.
just out of nowhere last week, let me see if I can pull this up. So yeah, they put out a trailer for this Cards of Eternity, and I forget who originally posted it. I know this is Scoriox's post, but somebody posted this screenshot because in the middle of the trailer, there's an atlas on a card. It says Guardian, Life Drain, apply Soulless to all of your beasts and adventurers for 1 turn. I have no clue what this is about, but it looks pretty cool. What do you think about this?
I don't know, dude. I saw that on the topic list that you gave us, and I was like, dude, what is going on? But it's not a bad thing, 100%. It was just weird. But any kind of advertisement in any other game, I think this is a good thing. Is this the game where they have like a bunch of different assets from a bunch of different games?
Honestly, I'm not too sure, but I'm just surprised. Like we didn't hear any of this on the
Yeah.
Illuvium side of things. Like, did this game just take an atlas and make a card out of it, or is this some kind of like partnership with Illuvium?
There's no way they just ripped it off, right? Because it's on IGN. So like it should be an official game. One thing I will say though, like I do want to say this real quick. I was on the YouTube page that this video was on, and a lot
Yeah.
of the comments looked like they were written by AI. So
Oh,
either
really?
yeah, like it looked a little sketchy. I could be wrong on that, but it looked something was off in the comment section.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much to think about it, but the reason why I wanted to throw it up here is just the idea of like other, games and other studios using the Illuvium IP within their games. And I kind of like the idea. Like one of my favorite games growing up, and really up until I found Illuvium, was Super Smash Bros. I played that since I don't even know, since I was a kid. But it's really just a celebration of all these different IPs together. And I think it's pretty cool how one game could take IPs from different games, give it more exposure. So I like the idea of other games having an alluvial card in it. It just gives more exposure because somebody's going to be playing this game and be like, oh, that's an atlas from Illuvium. Like, what's Illuvium? And they might look up Illuvium, and then they might find out that Illuvium is a better game than what they're playing right now. So you never know. It could actually hurt the other studios for using it. But I mean, what do you think about that? Should Illuvium let other people use their IP in situations like this?
I would like to see royalties on something like that if it's a tradable for sure. But I think if you can get that, like, I think there's never a bad situation. I can't think of a single scenario where that would be bad. It is free marketing, like free advertisement. I also think it's kind of the future of gaming. I think there will be a lot of interoperability if because they can get royalties on these things. It helps you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Unless they're like direct competitors, like if Pokemon entered NFTs and Illuvium was like one of the biggest things, I think that might not mix well together. But I think it's cool. I personally wouldn't want anything built into Illuvium unless it was like a skin. But yeah, for Illuvium to do that, I think free advertising. Why not?
Yeah. So what I think would be cool is like taking it a step further than just using the IP. What if this game required that you held an actual Atlas NFT in your wallet to have access to this card in their game?
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I saw it.
Cool, right?
Mhm.
Because then anybody who's in this game, even if this is their main game, they could see this Atlas and be like, the only way I can actually have this Atlas in this game is to have the actual Atlas NFT from Illuvium. So now I need to go check out Illuvium, and I need to either buy it off the Illuvidex or hop into the overworld and try to catch it myself, and then I could use it in that game. I think something like that would be even cooler, and that's something that you can do in Web3 that you can't do in Web2. It would be like a whole new concept.
For sure. Like, just the opportunities with interoperability is gonna be so cool. Like, there's 100%, this is an original idea. There's gonna be a game in the near future where they have a bunch of different assets from all these different games, and it's just gonna be a fighting game like Super Smash Bros, but it has, like, a bunch of Web3 characters in it. That's 100% gonna happen, and that's cool as shit.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's cool either way, whether they go like the Web 2 route or the Web 3 route. But imagine something like Super Smash Bros. On the blockchain. But in order to play every one of those characters, you need to go to their main game and get that NFT.
Yeah,
I just think that would be so cool for Web 3. And it would really tie the whole Web3 together a little bit more. If you're over here being like, I need to go play this Web3 game to be able to integrate it into my main game, like, I don't know, that kind of stuff just, it gets me excited for Web3 and the future of what Web3 is going to bring.
for sure. I think interoperability is the future. If not, it'll be, like, pretty centralized where there'll be, like, 5 different companies that own, like, a bunch of different things, and that all of those are interoperable. That's the future I don't wanna see, but, if it's cool either way, but I would prefer the first.
Yeah, and I think Kieran's mentioned in the past, like, that interoperability between different games is very far out. I think that's why they're coming up with, the Illuvium universe, so it's multiple games within Illuvium. But I still have hopes that there is more, interoperability between multiple games, just like what I was just talking about with these cards.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. Again, that's what a lot of us like about Web3, the actual ownership, and it just takes gaming to a whole new level. All right, so I picked this topic just for you. Let's move on.
Don't get me in trouble, bro.
Yeah, so I picked this topic just so we could both get in trouble.
Let's do it.
So let me pull this up here. If you're not aware, there was a little bit of drama going on in COD, Call of Duty, where one of their, I don't know if he's a streamer or anything, but they had a skin for him in the game, and he said something on Twitter they didn't like. Doesn't really matter what he said, but the fact that they didn't like something that he said, so they completely took his skin off the market and out of the game. If you're somebody playing that game and you had this skin already, I don't know what happens. I don't know if they took it away from you, or if they just made it so no new people could buy it. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Because in Web3, or at least in Illuvium, I've made a post about this like on Twitter. It's a DAO. So if the Illuvium team decided to just take something away and take something out of the game, the community could, use their voice, speak up, bring in IIP to a vote, and get that back in the game. The community has a say. Where here, it seems like a lot of the community didn't like this move, but there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, this is just like another one of those moments where the company's virtue signaling and the people who use that company don't care and don't want it, but they just keep doing that because they want to please whoever. But yeah, I think it's just interesting that Activision's coming at this guy with, I mean, he barely said anything, and Activision's owned by Blizzard, right?
Yes.
That's
Or the
crazy.
other
I
way
don't
around.
think Blizzard's ever had any problems with, like, anything. It's just crazy how spotless that company has been, and they're gonna call him out for, like, a random reply like this. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is one of the best reasons why a DAO is absolutely needed. Like, there was a time where I was like, DAOs don't work, they're too slow, and they are too slow, let's be
Yeah.
honest. A lot of times they are way too slow, but they prevent things like this, which is way more important and damaging to society in general.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for gaming, a DAO for a game, Illuvium is leading that charge. Like there's still a big learning curve, but it's getting better over time already, and I think it will continue to get better. One other thing I wanted to mention on this, and I don't know if you saw it because it happened, maybe a week later, is that one of, this guy had like a friend, I guess, who also had a skin on COD in the marketplace. And he just straight out said, if you're going to take his skin off the market, take mine off the market too. And then, Call of Duty just said, okay, and took them both off the market. And, eventually more and more people are just going to team up together and just be like, you're not aligning with what the community wants. So we're just not going to be part of it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like there's the changing of tides with that kind of stuff, but it doesn't really, the topic doesn't really matter. It's the fact that Web3 fixes this, right? Like we won't have to deal with this thing anymore. Shout out to Tim the Tap Man. That's the friend who like held it down for his buddy that got canceled. Tim the Tap Man's awesome. I also get told I look like him every time I go on Omegle from 12-year-olds. So there's that.
This all came down to politics, and I think you just got to keep politics out of the games. Like these, even in Web 2, Web 3, like make a game. Don't worry about politics. It doesn't matter what people say. Just make the best game you can, and you're not going to get canceled. At least I don't think so. You're not going to get canceled for just making a good game. You're going to get canceled for picking sides. That's what you get canceled for.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think we're going to have that problem with Illuvium. I mean, fingers crossed. If the problem does come up, there's ways around it. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on to the last section here. Leak of the week, but I'm going to let you go first. So it's this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, it's so much more immersive than it used to be. Like I liked the overworld, but like just being able to see everything like that and just like it flows through the environment, it is so much more immersive. I like it so much better.
So when something's out there, because this really isn't a good example. They should have done this in like another region where you at least have something that's going to pop up. Is it just going to kind of like blink as it pops up, or is it still just going to always be there? Because right now with when you turn on that visor, you can always see it and you could go towards it, or is it going to kind of blink as that wave goes up?
I'm assuming it's gonna blink. If not, then my whole immersion and my excitement kind of dies a little bit away with it. That blinking is kind of a cool factor with the animation that they gave us.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, basically before this, everything just went gray, right? Like this is tenfold better than what it was before.
100%.
And I've said this before about different things. It's like Illuvium, like they come out with something and then they improve it without us even thinking it needed to be improved. Like looking back now, yeah, that needed to be improved, but I don't think anybody was, pushing for it. Like, oh, we don't like this visor, how it looks, like make it better. No, they're just out there making the best product they can make. And I just think that's cool that they keep making it better.
Yeah, I think something that gets on my nerves a little bit, I'll be honest, and it's just like people need to realize that this is a beta. They look at like certain things, like say if someone was complaining about how lame the old version of the visor looks, they have no idea what's in the pipeline. Like it's a private beta. It's not even an open beta. Private beta. There is so much that they are going to update that you don't even understand. Don't take this at face value. Understand how it's going to evolve over time when the actual game is finished.
Yeah, and I've seen so many of those little changes already. Like the what do they call it when the whole map closes in on you?
I don't know. They call it the death. That's what I call it, death ball. So
yeah, like that's something new. I didn't know they were gonna do that. The how you scan the rocks. It used to just take the whole rock, and then it started taking parts of the rock and makes it like look a little better. Like I think when we finally get to open beta, we're going to look back at those earlier private beta builds and be like, how did we even play that? Like, how were we even okay with that? With, what we're going to get in open beta?
100%. People are going to be like, but I can't believe that I thought Overworld was gonna be boring back in the private beta days. Like, it is what it is.
Right. So, I mean, here's another thing that, again, I didn't expect. My leak of the week is going to be these 6 images right here. And these are to represent the, what is it? The augments.
Mhm.
I didn't even, they just had some basic images on a card. And I just thought, okay, that's what the augments are. And then they come up with these images that are top quality. Like, something about this glowing illuminescent on a dark background is just, I don't know, that's my art style. Exactly. Like, I've talked about this a million times, big fan of like Avatar, and you watch those movies and it glows. I don't know.
Mhm.
I just see these images and I'm like, now I just want more augments just to have this in my wallet.
Yeah. If
Right? Very well done.
They're amazing, and it was completely necessary because honestly, the augments before were super confusing. I had no idea what I was looking at half the time, even though I knew like by name what most of them did. It's just like looking at them, especially when you're trying to on a timer. It's like, what am I looking at? So this is 100% needed, and great job. I knew they were gonna update this, so it's just one of those things. Again, it looks amazing.
Yeah, and they're all like unique. Like, it's not even like they picked one design and kind of changed up the colors a little bit. Like, each one of these are very unique images. And I also heard somebody saying like these are going to be worked out to be like 3D models too. So this isn't even it. It's probably going to be a 3D model where like you look at it and it's like rotating around.
Yep.
It's everything in this game is going to look cool. If you're playing this private beta and you, like Jimbo just said, if you're looking at something and you're just like, that kind of just looks like, they threw it together, like, it's likely going to get an update at some point and you're going to be amazed.
Yep. I think one thing that I've noticed over watching all of the leaks, um, seeing them work, speaking to the team, they don't leave any stones unturned. At the end of the day, everything will have a 10 out of 10 placement eventually in their own eyes. They don't do second place. And that's one of the reasons why I love the project. It's almost to a detriment though, because like they do have a bit of scope creep going on sometimes. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I think we're fine. Uh, Make it A plus, make it S plus. Um, I'm a big fan of Illuvium. I'm really happy with where we're going.
Yeah. And I know in the inner circle of this community, everybody appreciates what Grant does. But if you're not like really paying attention, like, you have to know that Grant doesn't accept anything less than perfect, really. So if
Mhm.
something gets put out there and there is any flaw, he's gonna make sure it gets fixed. There's gonna be no seams, no cracks, nothing in any of these images or the art. It's going to look as smooth as it gets in any game.
100%.
It's just crazy. We're about done here. That finishes up this episode of the Illuvium Rundown. Leave some comments down below if you want to see certain topics talked about in the future. Jimbo is likely going to be a mainstay here on the Illuvium Rundown. So, I like to have him. I think everybody in this community likes to have him. One thing I will say though, I watched him on a Twitch stream for some disc opening for GameStop just a few days ago. This guy right here, the face of Illuvium, he's going to be the most entertaining guy for a live stream. I can't wait until he's playing some PvP matches and talking shit to his opponent. Go over, check out his Twitch, like subscribe to that, and his YouTube. He needs to get those YouTube followers or subscribers up. He doesn't push it enough himself, so let's get him up there. But yeah, thanks for coming on again. We'll be back here in 2 weeks for episode 22. That's it. Any final words?
No, just make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
All right. Well, see ya in the near future. Later.
Fuck off.